Welcome to Momendaram. In this video, we will see constructors of string buffer class. Constructors of string buffer class provides many ways to create the string buffer object. There are four constructors are available to create string buffer objects in Java. Now let us see them one by one. String buffer s is equals to new string buffer of. This constructor is used to create a string buffer with no characters in it and the initial capacity of 16 characters. That means by using this constructor we can able to create empty string buffer object and with the initial capacity is 16 characters. Let us see an example. String buffer s is equals to new string buffer of, and we are printing length, that is s dot length, and we are printing capacity, s dot capacity method. When you run this program, it is giving length is 0 and the capacity is 16. Once the string buffer object reaches its capacity, new string buffer object will be created with new capacity of current capacity plus 1 into 2, and the data will be shifted to newly created string buffer object and so on. To understand more about this point, let us see an example. So if you see here, string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of, and we are printing capacity, so it is giving initial capacity is 16 and we have added 16 characters in it, and after that we are printing capacity, still it is giving capacity is 16 characters. And let us see some other example. So here we have added string buffer as equals to new string buffer. Here also it is giving initial capacity 16 and we have added 16 characters. So it is giving 16 is the capacity. After that, if you added a new character, that is a 17th character, it is creating new string buffer object with the capacity is 34. So once the string buffer object reaches its capacity, a new string buffer object will be created with new capacity. So here, according to this formula, current capacity is 16 plus 1 is 17 into 2 is 34. So the new object is created and the whatever the data is there in the old object, it is shifted to the new object, and that old object is eligible for garbage collection. This process is happening internally, so developers no need to bother. If you see in this example, we have created string buffer s is equals to new string buffer and the capacity is 16. After that we have added 17 characters, so this string buffer object reaches its initial capacity, so it is created new capacity, that is 34. After that we have added more than 34 characters to this string buffer object, so it is created new string buffer with capacity is 70. If we add more characters than 70, the new object will be created and it keep on going. But this approach, when we do keep on adding and the new object is created, this will leads to the performance issues. If you are sure about how much capacity your string buffer object will have, that time you can create a string buffer object with that initial capacity. To do that, we have another constructor called as string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of int capacity. This constructor is used to create a string buffer with no characters in it and the specified initial capacity. And this constructor may throw negative array size exception if the capacity argument is less than 0, that is negative, if you provide negative capacity. String buffer s is equals to new string buffer of, we are giving capacity is 100. So when you print s dot length is 0 and when you print is that capacity, it is giving 100. So according to this constructor, it creates a new object with no characters in it, and it creates the capacity is whatever the capacity value we have provided. If you see in this example, string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of capacity we are giving negative. So when you run this program, it is giving negative array size exception. So the capacity, it should be greater than 0. It should not less than 0. And the next constructor is string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of string. This constructor is used to create the equivalent string buffer object to string class. This constructor is used to construct a string buffer initiated to the content of the specified string, and the initial capacity of this string buffer object is 16 plus the length of the string argument. And this constructor may throw null pointer exception if the given string is null. Let us see an example for better understanding. If you see in this example, string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of Mometharam, and we are printing length and capacity. When you run this program, it is giving length is 9. That means whatever the string object we are giving, the string buffer object is created with the same content. So their length is 9. Here the capacity is, as per the definition, the capacity will be 16 plus the length of the string argument. So the length is 9. 16 plus 9 is 25. So this constructor is used to create the string buffer object equivalent to the given string. And if you see in this example, string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of we are providing null as the argument. So when you print this s, it is giving null pointer exception, because this constructor internally using this length methods. As we know, when you perform operations on null objects, it will give null pointer exception. And the last constructor is string buffer s is equals to new string buffer of character sequence. So this constructor is used to construct a string buffer that contains the same characters as the specified character sequence. So when you use this constructor, whatever the character sequence you have given as argument, the string buffer object will be created with that character sequence. And the initial capacity of this string buffer object is 16 plus the length of the character sequence argument. If the character sequence argument has 5, then the initial capacity will be 16 plus 5, that is equals to 21. If the length of the specified character sequence is less than or equal to 0, then an empty buffer of capacity 16 is returned. That means if character sequence is 0, that means there is no character. That time empty string buffer object will be created, and the initial capacity will be 16. And this constructor may throw null pointer exception if the sequence is null. These are all the 4 constructors are used to create the string buffer objects in Java. Hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.